It's Saturday morning, and today we read Psalm 64. Hear my voice, O God, in my complaint. Preserve my life from dread of the enemy. Hide me from the secret plots of the wicked, from the throng of evildoers, who whet their tongues like swords, who aim bitter words like arrows, shooting from ambush at the blameless, shooting at him suddenly and without fear. They hold fast to their evil purpose. They talk of laying snares secretly, thinking, who can see them? They search out injustice, saying, we have accomplished a diligent search. For the inward mind and heart of a man are deep. But God shoots his arrow at them. They are wounded suddenly. They are brought to ruin with their own tongues turned against them. All who see them will wag their heads. Then all mankind fears. They tell what God has brought about and ponder what he has done. Let the righteous one rejoice in the Lord and take refuge in him. Let all the upright in heart exult. So this little psalm, again, as in so many others, David describes the attacks of evildoers and then says, but God is going to vindicate me and justify me, and God is going to shoot his arrows at the evildoers, and so they will lose ultimately. The image of shooting an arrow is in both sides of it here. The wicked will shoot their arrow. Bitter words are shot like arrows, ambushing the blameless. People say things and what? That's not true. And so God will shoot his arrows at people, and they'll be wounded. They'll be brought to ruin. Their own tongues, their own comments will be turned against them. He says, all who see them will wag their heads. Now that, kind of like this, that's a Middle Eastern sort of custom. We had friends from India, and we would say something to her and she'd go, hmm. And we thought that was kind of like, whatever, Actually, in India, that is how you nod yes. And if you want to say no, you go like this. And so every time she nodded no, we thought it was an enthusiastic yes. And every time she nodded yes, we thought, she didn't care one way or the other. So you have to learn the head wagging symbols from different cultures, but the ancient, all who see them will wag their heads and think, how terrible it is for them, and everybody will be afraid of God because everybody will ponder what God does, and the righteous will rejoice. So that's where it ends, and that's a pretty good place for it to end. So, are people attacking you? Do people say things? I don't think people attack us all that much, though, sometimes people have certain expectations. They expect, one of us, me, you, to act a certain way. And if we don't act a certain way, do certain things, according to their expectations, then they get mad or they have commentary, and that's just that's probably pretty close to what David's talking about. Now, he had actual enemies, chasing him around the countryside, shooting arrows at him, so there was that. But he's also talking about the people who just have comments to make all the time because you don't meet their expectations. He was the king or the expected king, the anointed king, and so obviously there are political issues, that people expected him to do certain things, and if he didn't do those things, he'd be in trouble. Just like with our politicians, if they don't act according to what I want them to do, then they're no good. But it's the same way for everybody. I mean, it's certainly the same way for pastors. People think, well, the pastor should do this or that or the other. And if the pastor tried to meet everybody's expectations, the pastor would, be ground to dust in about a day and a half. So, when you start complaining about your pastor, keep that in mind, at least, that no one can meet everyone's expectations. But God will sort of give us the strength and stand by us through all those expectations. So don't give up hope. Don't give up hope, but have a great Saturday. Stay cool, stay inside, and we will see you Monday morning.